two hands for a reason. I have two hands and a mouth. Hi, Adam. I have two hands and two holes. Hello, and welcome to You and Him, Cain. This is a prequel to the You and Him series in which you experience the story through Cain's eyes, who was Adam's bandmate. Let's get started. I am so excited. I love You and Him so much. Graham's Arena, Belfast, California, 10:30 p.m. 1 month before Adam meets you. The award for Album of the Year goes to... There's a moment of hushed silence as Melody, an artist known for their revolutionary music and experimental sound, opens the envelope flap. While others lean forward in their seats, waiting on bated breath, Cain steals a swig from his flask. Oh, he's so cute! Have I told you guys green's my favorite color? Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. I've been so excited to meet him. Now that's good shit. Jesus. He seems like a baby girl disaster. He withholds a groan of satisfaction as his body loosens up. Sitting in these cramped seats for hours on end in this borderline stuffy setting of an award show sets him on a razor's edge. He doesn't even want to imagine how he'd handle all this normally. I wonder if he's just as screwed up as Adam is. All these people with their probing eyes on him? Screw that. It's why he brought this trusty flask for backup. This is the only way he can preserve the carefully crafted image of the band that Saffron helped curate. Cain manages to tuck away his flask as Melody withdraws a glossy-looking card from the envelope on stage. They peer down for a brief moment before breaking into a brilliant smile. Melody lifts the card over their head as if the victory were their own, while the camera zooms in on each of the nominees, one view including Cain and his bandmates. Cake! Oh yay! Hooray! Good cake! I don't know why, but every single time I hear of cake, I just get reminded of DNCE, which is probably because they have a song called Cake. The crowd erupts into a deafening roar, cheers and screams breaking out all around the group. Cain resists the urge to check if his eardrums just burst. So relatable! He's sitting here, and he's like, I really don't want to be here. Oh, who's that? Instead, he plays it cool as Ethan, his multi-talented instrumentalist of a bandmate, lets out a loud whoop and thrusts his arms into the air before bursting out of his chair and jogging towards the stage. Ethan's hot too. Are they all single? I have two hands for a reason. I have two hands and a mouth for a reason. King, Cake's drummer, goes next, practically bouncing on the heels of his feet as he makes a heart shape with his hands in the direction of the camera. There's a few delighted squeals that follow. Hi Adam. Alright, I have two hands and two holes for a reason. Adam, the main face of their band and lead singer, is more subdued and gives a kind smile and waves towards the crowd. A down-to-earth reaction in comparison to the other two as he joins them on stage, yet he is the most screwed up so far. Cain keeps himself from laughing, not over the duality of their reactions over the announcement, but something else entirely. Anyone who knows any of these men could easily place why. Why? You guys are all screwed, aren't you? But they're all doing what they're told. They're entertainers. A fantasy put on stage meant to sell albums and records and establish connections around the world. So Cain puts on a show. It's his turn after all. He gives the camera that zooms in on him an enigmatic smile and a wink before leisurely getting up and going to join the others. Not gonna lie, I would absolutely fall for Cain's trap right away. He takes note of Adam's strained expression as he takes his time, but his movements liquid smooth thanks to the liquor. Anyone who doesn't know the singer personally won't see the undercurrent of annoyance and anger coursing through him as he keeps his gaze trained on Cain's slow-moving leg. Always a freaking snail's pace. Cain can practically hear Adam's thoughts and responds by simply ignoring him, eyes roaming towards the crowd before landing on a woman in the audience wearing a glittering silver gown that pulls around her feet. Uh-oh. Aria Adorna. She was one of the other nominees, but you wouldn't know that by looking at how wide she's smiling, particularly at Adam. Uh-oh! If Cain had to guess, she'll try sleeping with him by the end of the night at the after party. She's not gonna get very far. He wishes her luck. She's gonna need it. Oh god, is Adam gonna kill her with that thought? Cain finally joins the others on stage, responsible for making their album into what it is, a worldwide phenomenon. Millions of sales nationally and internationally. Just about everybody knows Cake's name. A grand achievement from the outside looking in. But if he's being honest with himself, it all feels so fake and empty. No, not fake, it is. So much so that he has to resist the urge to break out his flask and take a swig in front of everyone watching. Cain manages to wrangle his lips into a half-hearted smirk as Ethan takes the microphone and wipes false tears from his eyes, hamming it up like usual. I just want to say, he fans himself as if he's trying to stop his crocodile tears. After putting up with Adam for months on end, I'd say we deserve this. Cain tries to keep from snorting. Isn't that an understatement? Ethan then breaks out into a playful grin and shares it with the purple-haired singer, who returns it with a good-natured smile and a soft laugh, waving Ethan off as if he's embarrassed by his teasing. Adam looks so good in this outfit, I can't. The harness is doing things. When he finally gives it the microphone, Cain bounds over and blows the crowd a kiss, his follow-up speech bubbly and full of optimism. He then offers Cain the microphone next, but Cain waves him off. No thanks. Of course he's playing into his onstage persona a bit, but he really doesn't feel like making some half-assed speech that he doesn't mean. Not to mention, who would really listen or give a shit? Insecurity nags at him. Finally, Adam steps up to the microphone, facing the crowd with practiced sincerity. His cross earring glints under the stage light. A beatific smile that rivals all other angels in heaven adorns his face, and everyone goes quiet. Everyone going absolutely still. Without even saying a word, Adam's mere presence garners every single person's attention as they wait for him to speak, like he's a preacher at church spilling the word of gospel. No, more like he's a messenger of the heaven itself. I really want to thank everyone who helped make our album what it is. From our record label Collision Industries, to our artist manager who doubles as our tour manager Saffron, to our fans who helped support us through the years. We couldn't have done it without a single one of you. You've helped our dream become a reality. He's so good at being charismatic and fake, isn't he? He's really freaking pouring it on. Ever the perfectionist, be it a speech or over their music, Cain can't count how many all-nighters they pulled just because Adam wasn't satisfied with their sound, wanting them to match up with his unrealistic expectations for his vision of the song. He downed so many energy drinks to survive those nights. Not that he slept that well anyway, but Adam just loved to push people past their limit. Yeah, I know! And knows without a doubt that they're gonna endure the same treatment when they start in on their next album. Cain almost raises an eyebrow when Adam reaches over and ropes Ethan into a one-armed hug around the shoulder and squeezes. Looks like he missed something. Oh freaking well. None of this public display matters in the first place. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, Adam says, earning a small chuckle from the audience as he ruffles Ethan's hair like he's a troublesome little brother, before letting him go and showing that they're just messing around. The crowd, of course, eats every bit of their dynamic up. Adam then returns his attention back to their captive audience. The expression on Adam's face almost makes Cain roll his eyes, but he resists as the other man's gaze softens as he continues on. But honestly, I don't know what I'd do without him, or any of them really. He takes the microphone and turns towards his bandmates. I just want to say that there's no one better than this group right here standing beside me. I see them not only as my bandmates, but also as my friends, my family. Through it all, you stayed with me. Through all of those sleepless nights of us working, perfecting our music, making me laugh when it got hard too. I can't thank you all enough. So thank you for being there and acting more as my bandmates, but as my brothers. Thank you. Cain keeps his half smile fixed in place. He's done it time and time again throughout all of Adam's meaningless speeches. The purple-haired singer's words crafted to bring a tear to any viewer's eyes, but everything about it is a carefully crafted lie. You signed up for this. Cain reminds himself. They all did. Cain keeps his hands loose and feigns amusement when the camera's focus shifts onto his reaction, acting like what Adam's saying is common knowledge between members. He gives Adam a nod of acknowledgement and is tugged forward by Cain, who grabs onto his and Ethan's hands before they circle Adam and commence a group hug. As their heads duck together, their expression hidden away from prying eyes, Cain sees Adam's unfathomable rage. Something's wrong with this guy! I mean, we already knew, but something's wrong. He's staring at Ethan like he wants to choke the other man out. Ethan merely grins, always one to poke the proverbial bear. I feel like Adam is the most muscular out of all of them. That's hot. He knows Adam can't retaliate in front of all these people. He's safe for now. When they draw away, Adam easily slips on his mask as the down-to-earth singer of Cake. He even fakes a laugh when Ethan dips his head back towards the microphone before they head backstage, his golden eyes sparkling with mischief. Jeez, Adam. Way to kill off the fanfics with that comment. Then he thrusts his fist into the air and shouts, "Kiss for life, baby!" Before he's pulled away with the group, earning chuckles from the crowd as they walk backstage. Cain raises a brow at Ethan as they walk side by side. Kith was an obvious mashup of Ethan and King's names. Were you hoping I'd say Cain instead? Sorry. Maybe next time we win a whammy. Are you gonna rip open your suit to reveal a shirt with our ship name hidden underneath like you did with Adam when we got the award for Best New Group a few years back? Oh no, I'm thinking bigger. Bolder, like a marching band, a baton twirler, and a shit ton of confetti. Cain shakes his head, corner of his lips tugging up at the corners when he overhears the host for the Whammies giving a closing speech before bidding the audience goodnight. He's just glad it's over. After everything that happened on stage, he could use another swig from his flask. Or maybe even a cigarette. He's craving something either way. Their stint backstage is a brief one with the exception of a few people congratulating them before they're brought out to the limo, where Saffron waits for them. He's speaking into his Bluetooth and standing behind the open limo door. Cain catches snippets of the conversation as he slides in. Yes, we should shoot the music video beforehand. They'll be on the road after that for a year. No. He drags his attention away from Saffron and brings out his flask. At long freaking last. He goes to take a swig when the limo door slams shut and a hand clamps down on his arm. What the hell do you think you're doing? Of course, right on cue. They're out of earshot and away from prying eyes, which means Adam's allowed to act like a prick again. Taking a drink, what does it look like? Adam curls his lips in disgust. Put that shit away. You already smell like you rolled out of a kegger. How about I light a cigarette instead? Cain retorts, refusing to back down. When Adam's expression twists even further, he can't help but let his lips quirk into a smile. Adam wants to act like an arsehole? Cain will match him, step for step. He then wrenches his arm out of Adam's grasp, holding his gaze while he takes a swig from his flask before dragging an arm across his wetted lips. A vein pulses along his jaw. He looks like he's about ready to take a swing at Cain, to which he'd like to see Adam try. A low whistle sounds to their right, drawing both of their attention over to Ethan, who's got his arms laced behind his head wearing his typical grin. Easy there, Adam. If your face gets any more purple, it's gonna match your hair, and you're really gonna look like that one girl from Wally and the Chocolate Facility. Oh wait, did she actually turn blue instead of purple? He taps his chin in thought before he gives it a non-committal shrug, and his cheeky expression returns. Out of the four of them, Ethan's personality on stage matches the guy he is in private. An energetic guy who loves to joke and play around. His favorite target being Adam. Everyone else takes Ethan in stride, but Adam's easy to set off. One wrong move and there's debris for miles around. He's a grenade waiting to go off, and like Ethan said during his speech, he's a pain in the ass to work with. Cain watches as Adam bristles, also remembering what happened with Ethan on stage and the brazen truth that he aired out. But the audience won't take Ethan's words to heart. True or not, no one takes him seriously given his personality that lacks any semblance of seriousness. It's something only Ethan could get away with. I like Ethan. He's interesting. A trait that Cain can't help but envy when he's sober enough to think about it. He watches as Adam's lips curl into a snarl. And you. What the hell was that? There it is. Cain expected this. He knew how Adam would react as soon as they were away from prying eyes. The real Adam coming out to play. Ethan feigns innocence and presses the tips of his fingers to his lips, pretending to appear aghast. Why, Adam? Whatever do you mean? I thought I was well behaved today. There's a sudden bang as Adam's curled up fist rests on the limousine window. His lips curled into a snarl that's closer to a demon than an angel. Cain's surprised the glass didn't crack in the process. A lot of force went into that blow. Across from them, Ethan raises a brow, unperturbed when the purple-haired singer's gaze meets his, the air thickening the tension between the two. See, this is why people ship you two. Cain takes another swig from his flask as he resigns himself to watching the two verbally duke it out. Oh, that's good stuff. You know exactly what I mean. What the hell was that speech? You trying to make a fool out of me? Speech? Oh, you mean the one where I joked you're a nightmare to work with? I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought you did too, given your initial reaction. What? Did you not like it or something? What do you think? I already said I thought it was funny. Jeez, He's cut off as Adam's arm darts out, the hand belonging to that arm fisting the front of Ethan's shirt before he drags him so close that they're nose to nose. Ethan grins, almost like he's getting a kick out of the whole ordeal. There's not a hint of fear, only amusement and an undercurrent of something else that Cain himself knows all too well. Undercurrent of what? Does he like this? Defiance. Didn't stand the distance between us, I see. Goodness, Adam. If you wanted to get up close and personal, all you had to do was ask. And then Ethan does something unexpected. Cain watches as Ethan kisses the tip of Adam's nose with a light mwah, the sound echoing through the car that goes deathly silent. Oh, he is so Dunyan rings. Oh no. The only noise comes from the soft hum of the limousine's engine. A moment passes. 2, 3, and Adam's gaze narrows into slits, and the hand gripping Ethan's shirt near tears the fabric as he lifts Ethan a little off his seat. I'm going to freaking kill him. He says before all hell breaks loose as he winds his fist back, eyes flashing a bloody red. King, who's remained silent up until this point, manages to grab onto Adam's arm, stopping his fist from making contact, and Adam tries shaking him off. Adam, please, get a hold of yourself. You need to calm down. Adam ignores King's attempts at getting through to him. See, King is so deceptively sweet and nice, but I can't help but feel like he's probably one of the more monstrous ones in the group. Adam ignores King's attempts at getting through to him. He keeps his eyes locked on Ethan. Nothing's going to stop him at this rate, and Cain slowly unscrews his flask with reluctance. Adam almost manages to wrangle himself out of King's grasp when Cain raises the container over Adam's head and lets the alcohol pour over what? Cain is so screwed. Adam almost manages to wrangle himself out of King's grasp when Cain raises the container over Adam's head and lets the alcohol pour out onto his head. Cool off, Adam stiffens, and his eyes dart in Cain's direction, looking ready to switch targets, but Cain continues on. If you punch Ethan, what do you think's gonna look worse? A joke that everyone will brush off within the day? Or a freaking black eye that somehow magically appeared on one of our band members during our drive over to the after party? There's paparazzi waiting for us, so unless you want people to speculate over Ethan's words after he shows up injured, you should get your shit together. I love him. I love him a lot. He's my favorite little disaster Bob. Adam sneers, but Cain can see the acknowledgement of his words. While they can't freaking stand each other, he's made a good enough point that Adam can't argue with. He drops his arm and stops fighting. King lets go of him, and Adam crosses his arms over his chest, turning to glare out the window and stewing in his own anger as he leans against the limousine door. But at least he's acting complacent. For the time being, anyway. My hero, Ethan says in a falsetto voice, placing his hand over his heart. However can I repay you? Cain leans back in his seat and nods towards his now empty flask. My drinks are on you tonight. Aye aye, Captain, he says with a cheeky grin. As he and Ethan slip into an easy banter, Cain keeps making quips while Ethan goes on about his near-death experience with a stone-faced Adam. The rest of the ride goes relatively smoothly as they head for the after-party. And then they reach their destination, paparazzi waiting for them as their limo gains clearance to pass through the iron-wrought gates, flashes going off all around. Freaking nuisances. He mumbles, his expression remaining cold and harsh. The paparazzi can't see past the tinted windows, so there's no point in putting on a performance. As they pull up, the mansion comes into view. It's like every other one he's seen before, a cardboard cutout meant to show the owner's obscene amount of wealth, with a courtyard the size of 2 football fields and a pool no doubt waiting for them in the back. Instead of feeling impressed by the infrastructure, it leaves Cain with a sour taste in his mouth. He's starting to wish he didn't waste his liquor on Adam. Luckily for him, these places usually also have wet bars where drinks are served for the guests. That's the first place he's headed to. Hell, he might even stay there the entire night at this rate. As the group piles out of the car, past other guests loitering out the front, talking in small groups, he catches a flash of cherry red lipstick and a familiar smile waltzing up to them. Oh man, is it her? She's changed out of her long, elegant gown and beams at the group, namely Adam. Yes, but Adam doesn't want you, he wants me. 1 month later in another game. She tucks a strand of blonde hair behind an ear, her cheeks rosy. I'm so glad you could make it. Welcome to my humble abode, she says, shining brightly. If you want, I could give you a quick tour. There's plenty of people, so it's pretty easy to get lost. Thank you for having us, but I think she hasn't listened to the rest of his words, instead choosing to loop her arm with his and tugging him along. Oh, he's not gonna like that. Come on, it's really no trouble at all. Adam visibly stiffens at her touch. If he wasn't playing nice, Cain's pretty sure he would have ripped her arm off him the second she touched him. Instead, Adam gently withdraws his arm from hers and offers her a tight smile hanging back. She twirls around in confusion. I think I'm okay, thank you. A firm line gets drawn in the sand, one that says, don't touch me, and I'm not interested. Arya's eyes widen at the implication and a hasty apology tumbles out of her mouth. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to... It's okay, let's just enjoy the night. He gives her one last pleasant smile before striding past her as she stares after him. King's smile is apologetic as the girl blinks, looking like she wants to cry. A trace of his real personality revealing itself. I mean, like, he's allowed, he just doesn't want to get a number someone, and that's fine. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love a tour. Last time we wound up at one of these, I ended up getting so lost I found myself locked in a bathroom by the end of the night. He then gives a soft giggle at the memory. Oh, sure. Yeah, I could show you around. She doesn't look as enthused as before. her eyes lingering on Adam and is retreating back, but then she's back into hostess mode and she leads him and the rest of the group inside. Honestly, I might be making a mistake, but King seems really nice. Arya takes them through an array of areas made for entertainment purposes. There's a built-in movie theater, a spa area, a pool out back where most people are gathered, a playroom with all the latest gaming consoles, and best of all, a wet bar that Cain fully intends on taking advantage of. Ethan split off about halfway through the excursion. As soon as they entered the playroom, someone who knew Ethan within the industry wanted a rematch from their last game of Mario Kart during a different after-party. Never one to back down or show off, Ethan accepted the challenge, leaving the three of them to finish the rest of their tour on their own. Cain remains quiet as he follows behind Arya and King, who talked amicably. He could tell by Arya's expression that she'd already recovered from her earlier encounter with Adam. The only problem, she now eyed King in the same way as she did Adam earlier. Her eyes drifting over him with something like awe and want. I mean, King does seem pretty sweet and nice. Unless it's an act, like a really good act to get exactly what he wants. Cain withholds a sigh, already knowing what would follow. That's gonna be trouble later. Uh-oh. Not because of her clear attraction to his bandmate. A good portion of people find them appealing, so that's not the issue. It's how King feels about relationships himself. Like Adam, King doesn't do them at all. Although his reasoning is very different from Adam's. He didn't know why until after their first tour together, but that's not Cain's story to tell. Rather than linger on the thought as they reach the end of the tour, Cain nods his head in the direction of the wet bar. Thanks for the tour, I'm headed over there. Arya blinks at him. Did she forget he was even here? I mean, that's how I want to be. I just want to blend in. Did she forget he was even here? Oh, yeah, go ahead. She turns to King, her demeanor completely shifting. Do you want to go over to the pool? I'd love to introduce you to some of my friends. Cain watches as King smiles, feigning optimism, and keeps a bounce in his step as he and Arya walk side by side, heading out onto the patio. Yeah, that's not gonna end well for her. Oh no! She'd no doubt end up rejected twice. Either way, it's none of his business. He shakes his head and heads over to the wet bar. The bartender pouring others drinks talks with the guests, causing a few of them to laugh. He's a good-looking guy, a little shorter than Cain, pretty blue eyes. Not to mention he's got a cute smile to boot. Wait, I want to see him! If the paparazzi weren't waiting outside, he'd think about flirting with him and asking about taking him home at the end of the night. Ooh, he hasn't had sex in a while. Too busy to even really think about it. He's debating on at least seeing if the other guy's game when someone huffs as they sit down next to him, planting their purse on the bar. It's Melody, the one who announced the award for Album of the Year. The bartender waltzes up to them. What can I get for you? 2 shots of whiskey, Jack preferably. God, this night sucks. They drop their forehead onto the bar as the bartender turns to him. And you, sir? What they're having, but make it 3. Coming right up. As he moves away, the individual angles their face so they're looking at him. Someone's a show-off. He raises an eyebrow at the comment and they smile. I can only handle 2, but 3 shots? Someone's gonna need to peel me off the front lawn and find my missing shoe. Cain laughs at that, tipping his head back before he leans against the bar. I'll make sure you're not around for the rest of the shots I take then. Might make you jealous. More like I'd feel sorry for you considering the hangover you're gonna have in the morning and whoever has to hold your puke bucket. What makes you think I wouldn't use the toilet? And imagine that pretty of a face resting against someone else's porcelain throne. Unless it's your own and it's gold and heated. But if that's the case, you're a little too extra for my taste and I'm gonna need you to get out of here. His lips tug up at the corners in amusement and he plays along. Did I mention it also vibrates? Melody groans. Okay, now I just officially hate you. Get out of my sight. They make a shooing motion with their manicured nails before actively turning their back to him, stealing glances over their shoulder but smiling to show they're just messing around. If it helps, it's shared between 5 different men. They turn back around. Okay, yes, that actually does in fact make me feel better. They say as they grab onto one of the shots the bartender served them before tipping their head back and planting the glass back onto the bar. They hiss through their teeth and shake out their arms. That's the best, I really needed that. Rough night? Horrid. God awful, 10 out of 10. Never want to experience that again. In fact, I think I'm gonna order a 3rd shot because I really would prefer to forget ever agreeing to help out with the whammies. I'll cover you. Or should I say Ethan will cover you since it's his tab I'm running this on. They spit out a laugh. Oh, that little shit? Okay, sure. I'll take you up on your offer. You know him pretty well, I take it. Cain asks, downing one of his own shots before slipping into the bar stool next to theirs. Melody snorts, swirling around the liquid in their shot glass. I've never forgiven him for disconnecting my controller during Mash Sisters. I was winning, and he cheated to get ahead. Never forgiven him since. Melody, is that you? They groan. Speak of the devil. They whirl around in their seat as Ethan strolls up, his eyes sparkling with humor. Cain simply remains facing forward, only peering over his shoulder. He's taken off his jacket, and now his sleeves are rolled up, hands tucked into the pockets of his pants, his shoulders relaxed. Alright, I am very weak for men who roll their sleeves up. Cain can't help but envy how easy Ethan makes it look. He doubts Ethan drank anything tonight. He's a casual drinker unlike Cain, who's well acquainted with Jack and vodka. At most, he's probably settled for a beer. Even so, he's in his natural element when speaking and joking around with others. There's a few people looking over from the playroom, no doubt waiting for him to return in order to start another game. It's something that Cain envies in the deepest recesses of his soul. Don't. Something in the back of his mind hisses. Cain's hand tightens around the shot glass he's holding, his inner self-hatred curling around him like a vice. You remember what happened last time you let those feelings rule you, don't you? And he does. The memory comes crystal clear, sharp and cutting. The regrets from that day haunting him during every waking moment, his sleep no better. He swallows the lump from forming in his throat. Won't unplug it this time, Cain hears Ethan say as he keys back in on the conversation. Melody rolls their eyes at Ethan before leaning back against the bar, folding their arms over their chest, their eyes narrowing at the prankster with a sour twist to their mouth. You are a menace, and you know what they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm emotionally wounded by your distrust of me. Do you really think of me so low that I pull the same stunt twice? At least give me some credit in the fact that I'd switch it up. Melody gives him a dry look, but Cain can see that they're considering taking the risk of joining in. He'd missed out on what was said, but neither of them noticed he wasn't speaking anyway. No one ever usually does. I do. I like him. He's the type to easily fall into the background. Yes, the quiet one in the back. I want him. Easily forgotten. Easily replaced. A miserable, sorry excuse of a man who drinks to cope with things most people can handle without a crutch. No one would miss you if you died. Cain blinks. That went from 0 to 100 real freaking quick. He peers down at his alcohol almost accusingly despite the fact that his sober self always battles with these thoughts. Wait, the poor baby! Shit. Maybe he's had enough for the night. If he starts teetering towards that line of thought while drinking, he's gone too far. Melody turns to him. I'm getting my revenge. Talk later? Cain just simply gives an upward tug of his smile, masking his disappointment. He enjoyed their company, but he knows his own isn't exactly the best. Kick his ass. Melody gives him a wide smile before they turn and scribble something onto a napkin before handing it to Cain. A number. He doubts he'll ever text it. Sober him isn't the type to reach out first. And even intoxicated, he knows as soon as anyone finds out about his other side, it won't end up well. Laughter echoes in his ears, mocking and high-pitched. And then he hears the words spoken aloud. Bring it, loser. They're speaking to Ethan. Uh-oh. Oh no. They're speaking to Ethan, but the memory rams into him like a truck. Loser. His jaw hitting the bathroom tiles as the laughter surrounding him grew louder. Tears pricking at his eyes, his arms restrained behind his back as he thrashed and tried to fight back but couldn't. Something biting into his side. No, my poor sweetheart! A scream drowned out by mockery, and a smile at the helm of it all, standing and watching as he thrashed and squirmed against their hold. Loser. The sound of glass shattering echoes in his ears. The pain registers. Cain? Oh shit. Cain blinks as Melody gingerly takes his hand, revealing that he broke the shot glass. Shards of it sticking out of his palm as blood trickles from the wound. They've stirred up a bit of attention from the people around them. Cain watches as King makes his way through the crowd of people, his lips drawn into a tight line of concern mixed with determination to no doubt reach him. Then there's Ethan, who lingers behind Melody, hissing through his teeth at the sight as they examine Cain's palm. And then there's Adam with a group of people surrounding him. And Cain watches as his eyes scan the wound, eyes drawn by the blood. It drips onto the ground. Adam's eyes following it all the while. A slow, twisted smile that's all mockery forms on Adam's face. Hey, you leave Cain alone! But it's no longer Adam's face he sees. The ghost of his past that forever haunts him standing there instead, always on the sidelines to revel in his misery. The same person with the same smile from the memory he recalled earlier. Loser. We should get this cleaned up. They cut off as Cain gently brushes away their touch and stands up. He's quiet. Cain? He says nothing as he stares straight ahead, eyes locked on Adam. He hears Ethan say something, and hears King asking for a medical kit, but Cain hears none of that as he continues forward. Adam's mouth becomes more twisted as he gets closer. He's wearing a scowl rather than the initial smile Cain saw earlier. Was that smile real? Or imagined? It doesn't matter because now he's standing in front of the man who makes him remember the ghosts of his past. I need to use the restroom and you're in the way. The air thickens with tension. The people surrounding Adam start looking uncomfortable. But Adam plays into his character that he lets the rest of the world see. You okay? Your hand's bleeding. Move. There's a distinct tension in Adam's shoulders. And if they weren't in public, Cain's almost certain Adam would have angled a punch at him. Adam instead steps aside, keeping on the mask of concern. Cain overhears Adam whispering to those around him as he walks past. Hope he's okay. I'm starting to think maybe he drank too much tonight. He's usually not like this. Someone reassures Adam that things like this happen, and Cain pushes through the bathroom door and locks it shut behind him. Inside, he finds a sleek countertop with 2 sinks, a rain shower head with multicolour LED lights, and a pristine toilet that Cain pulls down the lid on so he can sit and look at his hand. He plucks the glass out of his skin. He feels empty as he does so. He endured so much pain in his past, he wonders if he's immune to it now. It doesn't hurt, but his memories, his existence, those do. When he's finished, there's a knock at the bathroom door. Cain? Can I come in? Cain sighs and reluctantly pulls himself up, opening the door and letting King slip inside before he locks it again. King holds up a medkit. We managed to find one. Is it okay if I take a look at it? Cain nods and simply sits back down in his original spot on the toilet as King gets to work on taking care of the injury. No trace of the bubbly persona. He's just King now. Are you doing okay? His soft, gentle voice draws Cain's gaze up. Worry lines his features and Cain knows that he's not just asking about his hand. King's good at reading people, knowing when something's wrong. His typically quiet and calm nature making him one of the band's most observant members. Cain's gaze drifts back to his now cleaned hand, soft gauze tapering off the wound. I think I drank too much. Not much more to it. Well, accidents happen, but if that's the case, then what happened out there with Adam? He doesn't look at King. He can't. He's afraid of the pity he'll see there. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but just know I'm here if you do. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees King give a reassuring smile, gentle and full of understanding. Cain just nods. He doesn't want to talk about it. The last time he opened up about why such a simple word like loser seemed to trigger him. You were envious. That's why you did what you did. Cain sat with his head in his hands, his body trembling as the person speaking circled him like a shark. But he needed to hear this. The acknowledgement that he was a terrible person. I'm so sad. I feel so bad for him. Can I hug him? That he was evil. That he was a monster. That he was bad, because hearing the words aloud was cemented in his mind and stopped Cain from doing something so horrible ever again. The person paused to whisper in his ear. He mocked you, did all those things to you, but he had people who loved him despite those flaws, who loved you despite yours. Then Cain felt the person draw away in disgust. Cain sobbed harder. No one. Because you're weak, and your envy makes you weaker. So trust me when I say I will never let you forget about it. Cain? He's pulled back into the present, and away from the memory, his empty eyes sliding towards King. A dead weight rests on his chest. Kind-hearted and caring King. Like Ethan, Cain envies King. I was actually wondering if the green in his outfit denoted envy. I really think it does. A level head on his shoulders. A serene calm in the face of any storm. King is a single person everyone needs in their life. But no one needs him. Never. Someone like him. He ruins everything. Not to mention, King wouldn't have done what Cain just did, getting so worked up and taking out his frustrations and hatred and regrets out on someone else. Because like it or not, Adam didn't even really do anything wrong this time. Sure, he's an asshole, but Cain's not even sure if he was smiling or not since he wasn't close enough to see. He made an asshole out of himself by walking up to him. Speaking with venom for no real reason other than Adam just reminded Cain of his past. If he were more like King, he wouldn't have done what Cain just did, proving that Cain's more of a monster than he cares to admit. He bows his head and runs a hand through his hair. God, I freaking hate myself. And a voice whispers back, good, it's what you deserve. I just need to be left alone, Cain says at last, finally responding to King's earlier inquiry. There's hesitation, but King won't overstep his boundaries, so he simply accepts the request. Okay, but if you ever need me, just let me know. Even if it's just to talk about nothing in particular at all. Then, King gets to his feet, and finally leaves Cain to drown in his own bitter self-hatred. He watches as the blonde head of hair disappears past the doorframe, and hears Adam, as well as the rest of his group, asking about how Cain's doing. King explains the situation, saying that he needs a minute. Cain lets his head fall back, staring up at the ceiling, as the voices outside the door fade away, forgetting about him. He closes his eyes. Of course, whenever he gets attention, whenever people remember or think about him, it's always for something as shameful as this. It's why it's better for him to stay in the background, a complete mystery to everyone else. Otherwise, they get to see this side of him. With shaking fingers, Cain pats down one of his pockets and manages to locate his cigarettes, slipping one out and lighting up in the bathroom. But it's not his fault, he just needs a bit of help. He lets himself rot in his self-hatred and misery. Because what's a better punishment for someone whose life is ruled by envy? Him. Oh, is this Adam's POV? So freaking stupid. Adam listens to the other people around him as they worship the ground he walks on and kisses ass, congratulating him on winning the award for Album of the Year. He fakes a smile and gives a humble response. Oh, it's not just me. I had so many people who brought this album together. And just like that, people eat this shit up. They start talking over one another, gushing over him. The circle tightening so he's completely surrounded, which makes his skin crawl. So many voices. He's on the verge of ripping out someone's tongue when Walter, the host of the Whammies, clamps a greasy hand down on Adam's shoulder like they're old friends. He doesn't even freaking know the guy outside of what he's heard. There's some shady history surrounding him within the industry. Whispers often coming from those forced to work with him in the past. There's something off about him. And it's a wonder Adam hasn't been sent after him yet. Wait, is Adam just getting sent after like shady people in the entertainment industry? Because I mean, I'm all for it. He's staring a hole into Walter's hand when his pocket buzzes. He gives everyone around him an apologetic smile. Sorry, incoming call. If you'll excuse me. When he steps away and manages to find a secluded area, he peers down at the text sent to him. The smiling face of a woman with golden locks and crystal blue eyes stares up at him, one of her hands tipping her wide-brimmed hat up as the other holds down the skirts of her white summer dress. Underneath are a list of key details he'll need to know about her in the future, things he can use to his advantage. Is he being sent after Arya? Oh, he is being sent after Arya, but why? I mean, aside from being a little bit too forward, I don't think she's necessarily a bad person. Adam frowns as his eyes drift up, scanning through the crowd until he finds the woman from the picture standing shoulder to shoulder with King. She's flushed with happiness over the drummer's attention. Arya Adorna. Adam scowls, his jaw setting at the sight of her. Well, isn't this just freaking great? Looks like I have to get close to her after all. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I love this universe so much. It's so freaking good. And I'm really glad that there's a prequel because I have been dying to meet Adam's bandmates, particularly Cain. And I really like how Hermit has written Cain and also his design as well. Basically everybody in the band I really like. Their personalities are so distinct, and I think that without giving too much away at all, the story does a really good job at alluding that each of them have something to hide. And there's a reason as to why they're all in this band, and I'm pretty sure that they all know what Adam is up to anyways. But yeah, this was done so well. I cannot wait for more of the prequel series, honestly. Like, I know we're not personally in it, so there's not much like us and Adam doing shenanigans together, but I feel like the world building is really strong, and I cannot wait to see more. I love this. But thank you so much for experiencing this story with me. If you guys liked this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And if you want to hang out outside of videos, I stream on Twitch 3 times a week. Feel free to come over and hang out with me in the community. But thank you so much again. I love this so much and I hope you did too. And until next time, take care.